Hey guys, welcome to episode 5 of Maniacs entitled Gospel of Greed. And in this episode, we're going to talk about how the church, World Harvest Church, can be very generous to their friends and to themselves and to the people that they would consider to be their favorites, the people that are helping them keep secrets, sweeping things under the rug, if you will, overlooking behavior for some that would not be tolerated by others, and how the other people, mainly the staff of the organization, are neglected. So, again, like some of the episodes, I'll kind of be bouncing around when it comes to my experiences there and the things that I saw and the situations that I was involved in, and how that not only affects the staff members, but how other people that probably don't need a lot of the things that we're going to talk about, how they are continually blessed and given gifts just for showing up. But the people that are, working 80, 90, 100-hour weeks receive their salary, and that's about it. So we have friends and family and the people of the top leadership really, being blessed with many things, including very expensive gifts and things for themselves, but all that the staff receive, on birthdays, on anniversaries of their employment, is, overall usually just treated badly. There's no birthday cards, there's no acknowledgement of their accomplishment unless their department head or possibly someone in HR decides to recognize them. So, again, with my experiences, let's take, Dominion Camp Meeting, for example, and those of you that have been staff there or are staff there, the staff of the church specifically, not necessarily of the school, the teachers and administration are not required to work Dominion Camp Meeting, but the staff of the church are required to work Dominion Camp Meeting. And my first year there was in 2019. And I was asked, where I wanted to serve and where I could best use my talents. And it was helping prepare all of the food, especially with dietary restrictions for all of the special guests of Dominion Camp Meeting, and also for the Parsley family specifically. So I didn't necessarily know what I was getting myself into, but again, it was a requirement. And so you show up, at 6 a.m, and then you're usually there, or at least where I was working, till 1 or 2 a.m. And then you're able to go home and sleep for a couple hours, and then you got to be back at 6 a.m. again. I was even asked if I wanted to just sleep in my office, to, save some time. And I said, absolutely not. But I know that there are people, just because of timing and the amount of work that they have to do in such a short period of time, that they go ahead and sleep in their offices, which is obviously a huge sacrifice. And again, we all say, yes, we're going to do this. We may not know exactly what we're getting ourselves into, if you will, but we just say, yes, we're going to work this Dominion camp meeting no matter what it takes so that it's successful. But one of the major areas for me that was an issue was that I had to keep a spreadsheet, and I was required to get information from the department head leaders. But what the rule of thumb is that for every additional 20 hours that you work for Dominion camp meeting, that you get a day off. So, for most of us, our work days are 8 to 12 hours. But during Dominion camp meeting, like I said, that entire week, you're working your regular shift. And then that weekend, you're working, 18, 20-hour days. And so if you normally work, a 50-hour work week, then you have to work 70 hours to get an additional day off, 90 hours to get 2 days off. And believe me, you will hit that. But there are some people, depending on where they work, if they're working in, music or in the media department or social media department, they're ramping up for Dominion camp meeting, for a week or two before it's even happening. So, they could be working all of these additional hours for several weeks, not just for the weekends, like was my experience. And, this on its own may not be that big of an issue, except for we're not really giving people the time off that they should be receiving, since they are working so many additional hours. And some of these people didn't even get this additional time off because their department head didn't report it, or it was reported incorrectly. But in totality, as you will see, or at least I think it makes a great point for the fact that there are these issues that occur with the staff members, and then they're never paid back their time, whether it's monetarily or it's with their time off. So then from there, because again, I have to talk about my experiences, you guys. So when it comes to these episodes, or things that I was directly involved in, to give a truthful and firsthand knowledge depiction of what I experienced. And I'm sure some of you experience as well. So then we talk about our teachers. Harvest Prep. So when I started there in 2019, the starting teacher pay was $28,000 a year. And I don't know if you are aware of, what other schools are paying their teachers, but $28,000 a year is not a livable wage, especially when you're paying back student loans and even just what's required of you as a teacher. And so over time, we did get the salary increased up to the starting salary being at $38,000 a year when I left there in 2022. So it was, we made a $10,000 increase in the starting pay, but I would still argue that our teachers at Harvest Prep are severely underpaid, especially for what they deal with on a day-to-day basis, and also the lack of support from the highest leadership. So, like I mentioned in one of the other episodes, there are some very good teachers and very good administration at Harvest Prep. I believe that they really care about not only the students, but also they care about teaching God, being able to pray, in school with your children and having chapel. And that's one of the reasons why they're, willing to take a little bit less money, or a lot less money, if you will. But there are also some other situations where this would certainly be another episode to really kind of dive into it completely. But that, private schools will never pay the same amount of money as public schools pay. But there also is not, a retirement plan that's set up for teachers like they are in the public schools, where you have to pay into an STRS system so that there's retirement when you go to retire. And a lot of, the funding to make sure that there's appropriate curriculum, to make sure that the kids are on grade level. A lot of that, it has been overlooked in the past, and I don't know if it continues to be overlooked, but I do know that I sent both of my sons there, and my youngest son, I probably would have never known until I took him out. But at Harvest Prep, he was the head of the class, basically. Great test scores. He's, above average. And all of the things that, make you feel good about, being a parent to a very intelligent student. But when I took him out of that school and he started a new school, I received a letter that he was severely behind in reading, to the point where he had to be in reading intervention for months. And now he's back up to grade level. But I worry that had I kept him at Harvest Prep, that not only would I have never known that my son was behind, but no one was going to tell me that either. And again, I'm not blaming the teachers specifically or administration specifically, but what I'm saying is that I believe, based on my experiences, that Harvest Prep and the organization as a whole could do better with making sure that the teacher and the administration have the tools that they need to make sure that our kids are successful there, period. And in most cases, that costs some money. So then I'll get off my soapbox about that because, like I said, that can be a whole episode on its own. So then we talk about the people and staff that are specialized in a certain area, and there's literally no one else that can either do their jobs, or there's such high staff turnover and can't keep staff that we are running the staff that do decide to stay, we're running them ragged. And we are requiring so much of them. We ensure that they are on salary. So whether they work 40 hours a week or 100 hours a week, we're paying them the same amount of money. And I know for a fact that there are more than a handful of people, let's talk handfuls of people that, again, are sacrificing times with their family, they're sacrificing their health, they're sacrificing their mental health, because there is a sense of obligation that this job that needs to get done, and whatever means necessary to ensure that it stays and gets done, whether that's using, God as a manipulation tactic, whether that's using fear as a manipulation tactic. It's all being used to ensure that the organization is getting the most out of the people, regardless of what it's doing to that person. And I can assure you that most of these people, if not all of these people, are not receiving a fair wage for the amount of work that they do. And if you take their salary and divide it by the number of hours that they actually work, and they're, probably making $9 or $10 an hour for a very specialized job when it comes to the hours that they work. So that leads me to kind of in another area to discuss where, this money that the organization does not have to pay fair wages, does not have to ensure people are being appreciated, to ensure teachers are being appreciated, to ensure that people feel supported and that they are cared for because they are the ones that are keeping the school going, they're keeping the church going, they're keeping the college going. That they feel some appreciation for all of these things that they sacrifice to ensure the success of the organization as a whole. But I will tell you, if you are a friend, or if you are at very top leadership, or if you are just a special guest speaker at the church, then you are going to be treated very, very well. So you're not only going to have your travel paid for to come to the church or school or college, you're likely going to receive a check or some kind of love gift for coming and speaking at the church. You're going to have food provided for you. You're going to usually have a host provided for you. Host meaning someone from the church or one of the work study students will, pick you up from the airport and they'll take you to where you need to go, or make sure that you're at the church on time. But these people are also receiving very, very expensive luxury gifts. So it seems that maybe the money that could be better spent on the staff and the people that actually give tirelessly and give without expectation of receiving anything else but a paycheck. I think that some of the things that are happening are over the top, and that the organization, in my opinion, could be spending this money much in a better way to ensure that the staff themselves not only are paid fairly, but they are also feeling appreciated. So we'll go down the list of some of these gifts that are given, again, just for a speaker showing up, for a birthday, for a wedding gift, things of that nature. Tumi briefcases they range from $625 to $1,700. Gucci sunglasses ranging $350 to $640. Gucci crossbodies, $700 to $1,800. Louis Vuitton bracelets, $300 to $800. Tiffany and Company necklace, $300 to $2,000. Movado watches, $400 to $1,500. Invicta watches, $395 to $4,000. And I didn't even go through the entire list of gifts that have been given over time. But, Valentino, Gucci, Prada, Tumi, very expensive brands, ranging on the low end, after I added them all up, nearly $5,000 to the high end of almost $20,000. And again, these are gifts for people that are already, their travel has already been paid for. They're usually, receiving a check for showing up if they're a speaker. And then they're getting some gift on top of it. But some of these people are just receiving, the gifts for a birthday gift or a wedding gift or anniversary gift. And that doesn't even include the things that are done specifically for the leadership. So you're talking, we know about the $1 million mansions and the luxury cars and the Falcon jet and things that that Pastor Parsley himself has, spoken about or bragged about, even in the pulpit.
When I got my first jet airplane, woo! God's blessed us with 7. Don't be hating.
But also, balloons that cost thousands of dollars just for balloons for one of their birthday parties at the church that, a very select few people are even invited to. Luxury hunting trips, party buses, Lady Gaga concerts in Las Vegas. I mean, what do these things cost? And I don't know, if the church is paying for some of these gifts that are directly for the leadership. But, you're talking thousands of dollars that could be put back into the organization, into the staff that are supporting the organization to keep it moving. And again, these people are not asking for really anything or asking for much at all. But strictly, from a human resources standpoint, which is what I did, is that there should be some appreciation of your staff, and they should not be feeling neglected or uncared for, or that they don't have the tools that they need to not only be successful in their position, but that in the situation with the school, that their students have everything that they need to be successful, and they have the right ratio of kids to teachers, and they have the right curriculum, and they have intervention if they need it because they're not on grade level, and so I'm hoping that in discussing this, that there is an understanding that whether you are hearing, we don't have the money for that, we're broke, we can't give, raises, we can't hire any more people, even though we're working you to death almost, that it seems that there is the money to do these things, but it's just being spent in the wrong places and in the wrong areas. And so, like I always do, I have a couple of Bible verses to read. So the first one is Proverbs 22:16. Whoever oppresses the poor for his own increase, and whoever gives to the rich, both come to poverty. And then the other Bible verse is James 5:4-6. The cries of the harvesters have reached the ears of the Lord Almighty. You have lived on earth in luxury and self-indulgence. You have fattened yourselves in the day of slaughter. You have condemned and murdered the innocent one who was not opposing you. So again, is it okay for leadership to decide that they are going to receive very nice salaries, and who's going to receive gifts, and who's going to receive below average wages? I guess it is. But it not only is wrong, but we're talking about very hardworking people that, again, sacrifice a lot of their time to the point where, it's causing them health issues. It's causing them mental health issues. And that's just with the work schedule itself. We're not talking about how people are mistreated, like I've discussed in some of the other episodes. And so I hope this is an eye-opening look into how you may be hearing one thing, but how I can also tell you that there are things happening that you may not be aware of, and that there is plenty of money being spent. It's just in the areas that you would never know about because you're not only not privy to that information, but you're probably not on the side that is getting appreciated and showered with gifts. You are getting your very meager paycheck and told that is your appreciation for a job well done, if you will. So, again, thank you for listening. Thank you for liking and subscribing. And please tune in to episode 6 next week. Have a good night.